Okay, folks, we are live on WebEx. I want to thank everyone for coming here today. My name is Jody Rogish, if you haven't figured that out. We are doing this at a little different location this time, so I really appreciate everybody being here on time. This is a fantastic facility. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it later. The first question that came in is, where's the bathroom? So, Victoria, the bathroom is out here and just right here down this hallway down to your left if anyone has to go. So that was the first important question that we had. Plan to do these Tuckahoe Talks about every quarter-ish. We are going to look at putting them in different locations as well. Maybe someone suggested a firehouse for the next one. Maybe go back to the library. Maybe do it outside, out at the creek or somewhere. So if you have any suggestions, please let me know. I'll get all the contact information at the end. Yeah, I mean, we'll also do different topics. So if you have ideas for different topics, please let me know. I want to introduce a couple of people. First, thank you so much, Victoria Davis, for putting this all together. Thank you, Victoria. Stephen, working the camera, thank you. Officer Phillips in the back, keeping us safe, and Officer Boatwright in the back as well, on the back. One other person I want to introduce is my planning commissioner, Mr. Brian Winterhoff. He is here as well. Miss Reese Lash. Reese is with us from Freeman High School. She's in the Student Government Association there, so she will be tagging along on Student Government Day with us. So thank you also for coming, Reese. Let me see if I can work this fancy thing. Okay, a little bit agenda. I'm just going to introduce myself, talk a little bit about myself, my family, and why I ran for this position. I'm going to put a county spotlight on 3 topics, and I think they're very important for you guys to follow along. Team Tuckahoe priorities. So some of my priorities, some of Brian's priorities, some of the priorities why I ran that I want to go through. I'm going to talk about a couple of Tuckahoe specific projects. And then we have an HR presentation from our HR folks, probably about 10 or 15 minutes about some potential job opportunities, etc. At the end, this is a talk, so I'm putting at the end questions and answers. You can please ask questions throughout the presentation. I have no issue with that. I think it's more interactive. I thought about sitting down and having this in a semicircle and sort of having a talk. I want this to be an interactive. I want this to be government for all of us, etc. And if there's time at the end, if you want to do a quick little tour of this facility, I think our chief educator back here, Mac, would love to take some folks and show around this facility. So thank you, Mac, for having us here today. Appreciate it. Okay, just a quick about myself. I went to Carnegie Mellon. It's a small school in Pittsburgh. I have my master's degree in public policy. Okay, it is a small school. It's in Pittsburgh. The tartan is our mascot, so you'll see that out throughout. I spent 20 years in state government, in various roles in state government, mostly in the IT world as an IT project manager. My wife and I, we moved here to the Richmond area a little over 20 years ago. And so I spent the past 20 years as an IT project manager. I've been on numerous community boards. You've probably heard and seen Tuckahoe Little League is a passion of mine. I spent a lot of time out there. President of my HOA, PTA, etc. Moved to Henrico County, and we just absolutely love it here. A little bit about who my family is. My son, Jackson, baseball, football. He just finished 5th in wrestling at the state tournament, so he's an 11th grader at Freeman High School. My middle son, he's in the government, the Government and Leadership Center at Freeman. He's a 9th grader, also plays volleyball, tennis, all around normal middle kid, you know, a pretty happy-go-lucky guy. And of course, my favorite, because I'm not sure if they're watching or not, but I probably shouldn't say that, but Sadie, she's a 5th grader at Tuckahoe Elementary School. And big part of it. So a big part of our family is the community, is the schools. And I say this not to necessarily brag about my kids or talk about my kids, but one of the reasons I ran for this position truly is because of them, of your kids, of all of our kids. We are all in this community together, and it's what makes Henrico County really, truly great. So our family looks like a normal family, but I can promise you behind the scenes, there's a lot of chaos going on and a lot of kidding between us. And, you know, the other thing that's great about our family, we have some differences too, right? So you see a tech and you see a UVA, and it's really it's sort of it's like all of us, right? We all come from different backgrounds. We have different ideas. But at the end of the day, we're still going to a football game, and we're still part of the same family. So I just would like to bring that to this, that I might have different ideas, you might have different ideas on things, but we are all still part of a family. I think that's what makes our county so great and what will make all of this process great. So that was just a little quick introduction of who I am, the family is. Little county spotlight. So I can walk around, right, guys? I can walk around. So a little county spotlight. So in the first 50 days, we have been all over, and I say we. You know, there are 5 Board of Supervisors in Henrico County. 3 of us are brand new to the Board of Supervisors. So we've been all over the place. And to highlight a few things, the adult education center, that's where we are here today. What a fantastic place that we've come together with a great public and private partnership that they've used an existing space and really revitalized this. And if you haven't been over to the pool area, I really encourage you to walk through there, walk through this mall, walk through this afterwards, because this is a fantastic example of the things that Henrico County does. We've been to a fire academy graduation and training. We've graduated over 35 new firemen and firewomen into the field. We've been to the police promotion ceremony and graduation. Again, 6 new police officers we just put into service last week. The FEMA flood map updates. Some of you have maybe already gotten your notices. If you haven't, you may get notices that you are now in the FEMA floodplain. And so there's great help and information out there. I saw a hand go up in the back. So you're now in the floodplain?
So about up to 7,000 people in the entire county are potentially impacted by that. If you have switched into a high-risk area, then you will have to add flood insurance onto your home insurance if you have a federally backed mortgage. More information is coming out about this very, very soon. I think the news release is actually going out tomorrow. We're going to be pushing out so much information about this. And there will be a helpline. Unfortunately, I don't memorize the number or anything like that off the top of my head. But just pay attention to the news. There will be a helpline if you have questions. You'll get a notice in the mail if you're impacted as well, as we said.
So thank you. So yeah, FEMA floodplains change every once in a while, and we'll have to deal with that as they come out. The wastewater treatment plant, every time you flush that toilet, it goes somewhere. We have been over to the facility. That's a great little spot to go to. Crisis intervention team, coming out this summer, the Marcus Alert. And if you haven't heard of the Marcus Alert, it's a new law. And so you'll be able to dial 988 versus 911. And even now today, if you dial 911 and you're looking for mental health help, they will transfer you a little soft transfer over to a mental health crisis. I was fortunate enough to spend 4 or 5 hours last week on a ride along with our crisis intervention team. And what a fantastic group this is. Folks, no matter how you look at it, mental health is a real issue and it's getting worse out there. And so we have really great resources in the county that are helping people both on the police side and the mental health. So we're not sending just a SWAT team out for reasons when we need mental health reasons. So excellent program. The Henrico Sports and Events Center, if you haven't seen this location up in the Virginia Center Commons Mall area, there are 14 full-size basketball courts under one roof. The volleyball nets, they come out of the ceiling like this. They swing down. All of our Henrico County graduations will be going there instead of going down the Siegel Center. A fantastic spot. And just another great example of what we're doing in Henrico. HenricoNext.us, if you haven't hit that website yet, talking about the new comprehensive plan for 2045, please go out to do that. And then you've probably seen in the news the Verina Farms purchase. And I saw a thumbs up, so that's good, for at least somebody was happy about it. But it's 2,000 acres that we were able to get down on the James River, and just a fabulous location. And the frontage, there are so many possibilities you can do. There are still on this side, I guess this would be the west side of the house, there are cannonballs that are still wedged inside of the wall. So just a ton of history out there. This is where the county seat was originally for Henrico County. So the possibilities of what to do with this are endless and very exciting. So just told you about a whole lot of things. I do want to talk about 3 things real quick. Black History Month. There are some pamphlets in the back. And are we okay on time, Victoria? Can we show that quick video? There's a, the Black History Month, the pants on the back, there's a cemetery, the Woodland Cemetery, that has partnered with Henrico County. And Henrico County has done a fantastic job of revitalizing this cemetery. And it's a quick 3-minute video that I want to show you guys because it was super impactful for me when we went out to this location. And Victoria is going to cue it up.
Well, we're out here in Woodland Cemetery. It dates back to 1917, well over 100 years. And it's an extremely beautiful cemetery. We have a number of great volunteers who have dedicated themselves to doing the work out here on a regular basis. It was certainly a big task several years ago when we started with this work to reveal the many grave sites, tombstones, and memorials that are out here.
This is our third year out here. You know, you can see behind me how cleared it is. We're mowing it on a regular basis. So, you know, I thought it was going to take quite a while to get all this area cleared, but it has actually come along pretty quickly. The woods all around the edge of the cemetery, you can see in the background, all have graves. That's still areas that need to be further cleared. We've done some clearing on it, but that's where we're working on now. There are also woods behind the chapel, which are about almost a third of the cemetery, and those have graves all through.
And it's been extremely successful, not only with the work of the dedicated volunteers, but also with the help of Henrico County. And we certainly do appreciate their willingness and their commitment to give us and help us with all of the resources that they have to really clean up this cemetery through restoration and beautification.
All the gravestones that we find out here, and we found grave markers now for over 5,000 people out here. When we find them, we photograph them. After we've cleaned them up, we'll take GPS coordinates, and then we put all the pictures and the GPS coordinates on a website called Find a Grave. So anybody that's researching their family on Ancestry.com can go out there and find that name. They can actually see a picture of the grave marker, and they can get the GPS coordinates for it if they can come out here on their own.
Well, African American history is at the forefront of everybody nowadays here in the United States and even across the world. People are interested in African American history and certainly where these people are resting. As the historian of the Six Mount Zion Baptist Church, we have two pastors out here. Our first pastor, Reverend John Jasper, and we have Reverend A.W. Brown. It's kind of incumbent upon me to make sure that their grave sites are presentable, they're clean, because there are visitors, there are tourists, people who are interested in African American history. You can go to libraries and you can go to archives and you can go to museums, but you also go to cemeteries. When you read the words that are inscribed on the monuments and the tombstones, you get a sense of the years in which they live, and you put that in the perspective of history. Then you pretty much can put a puzzle together, understanding their livelihoods, the environment they lived in, the circumstances of which they lived in, and for many people, the accomplishments that they were able to have during their lifetime.
You have to, even though everybody here can hear you, if you're not.
My name is Frank Callahan. I'm the educational chairperson for the Henrico NAACP, along with L. Francis Brown. And I just want to thank the supervisors and the school board because this past, last Monday and Tuesday, we jointly did a pilot program bringing Black History Month into one of our elementary schools, our junior high and our senior high. And we had two of the supervisors, Misty and Bosco Cooper, come in. We had our school board president, Alicia Atkins, come in, and we actually had Sheriff Gregory come in and other groups that spoke to our elementary, junior high, and senior high, and it was very successful. And we even carried it on to do videotapes this year from Jennifer McCullen and others on the state level to explain to the students. And again, this was the first year we did it. It was a cooperative effort, and it was with three schools, and we hope to expand it next year.
Thank you, Frank. I know that it was a 3-minute video, but it's important to get that message across to folks that we are doing really good things in the county. And even though that sounds, that was, we talk about Black History Month, the schools are doing a great job. The county is as well. And I was over there at that cemetery, and to know what we've done and the resources that we were able to change that cemetery. And if you're looking to volunteer ever for it, Victoria will have a sign-up sheet. Sign up and let us know. So, okay. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. It is. Mhm. Yeah, no, so there's a sign out front of the new, the old building that's there. If you walk back behind there off of Quioccasin, it's actually behind the Gateway Apartments there. It's a fantastic cemetery as well, so yeah, thank you. Okay, second thing I wanted to highlight was All Henrico Reads. And again, we have for years, and Mr. Winterhoff and I, we have kids that have gone to Tuckahoe Elementary School. And if you have elementary school kids, they do something called One School, One Book, where everyone in the school reads the same book for 3 or 4 weeks, a chapter a day. And what they do is they talk about it within the school. So kindergartners have different opinions than fifth graders, etc. Well, All Henrico does the same thing. And I wanted to encourage everyone, if you can, on March 28th, actually the author, Miss Strail Stray, this is the book that we are doing this year called Wild. I think it was actually a movie with Reese Witherspoon as well. March 28th, the author will actually be at the Henrico Sports and Events Center, so it's a good chance to get up there and see the event center as well. There are some discussions taking place at various libraries, and I encourage you to go out to the library website, and you'll see, the dates and times of some discussions for the book. So, yes, ma'am. She will not be at the discussions. No, she will only be at but I could come to one of the discussions if you would like. So, but yes, but she will not be at the discussion. So again, just a great, kind of with the theme of All Henrico, All Tuckahoe. We want to get people involved. Everybody pick up a copy of the book and have some discussions on it. And then the last spotlight item that I wanted to highlight, it is tax time, and I guess everyone's probably gotten their assessment notice, and only one person so far has sent me an email saying thank you. Most of you have said something different on that. However, I will say that Henrico County has a long-time program called REAP. And for those of you who don't know, that's a real estate advantage program. So if your net worth is less than 500, your income is less than 60 or 75,000, 65 or older, partially or permanently disabled, you can qualify for REAP. Just recently, we launched a new program called Recap, where our taxes would be capped at a certain from last year. And that's if you don't qualify for REAP and you make a little bit more money and you have an income or a net worth of up to 700,000, your taxes can be capped. We have flyers in the back that you can fill out. And I can assure you there's a number on the back too that the staff is wonderful. They will help you figure this out. Please tell your friends, neighbors, etc. But it's another great program from Henrico County where we are capping taxes for folks over 65. Okay? Any questions on that? Yes, ma'am. Okay, not on that. On some. She has 2 questions. Let me get her the microphone. Okay, that's fine. Well, they can't hear you on WebEx without the microphone. So.
My question is, I sort of listened to the Planning Commission meeting the other night. I didn't know it was on, but anyway, so I watched it, and they talked about the cell tower over near Mayberry Elementary and Wellborn. So in the conclusion of that, I didn't catch the end of it because something happened at home. So did they decide not to put that cell tower there because it was so close to a school? Because it is detrimental to your health, plenty of research out there. So, so did they decide not to put the cell tower there?
So I will answer the question. The way the process works in the government is there's a planning commission meeting.
Right.
And so what the applicant requested that be deferred.
Okay.
And what they did at the planning commission was they denied the deferral. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Winterhoff,
So
because you were there.
They denied the deferral.
They denied the deferral, meaning that the case will be heard at the next Board of Supervisors.
Yeah,
meeting.
I think people will
So
be there
that's-
for that one.
And
Yeah,
that
'cause-
meeting that will happen March, that'll be in the March meeting? The Board of Supervisors meeting, right? I think so. That's what someone said. It'll be the March.
Oh, so, okay.
So yeah, so there you go. Okay.
Yeah, because the group I belong to, the medical group I belong to, also went to the health department about the electromagnetic frequencies. So I'm sure they're going to be there. So the second question I had was when I listened to the planning commission meeting, I heard all about the boardwalk,
Mhm.
the $10 million boardwalk that is
Right.
planned. And I live in Raintree, which isn't far from there. I know I've been to Tuckahoe Creek Park, and no one that I talked to in my neighborhood knows about it.
Okay.
Even my next door
Let me hold
neighbors.
that question for just 1 minute because I do have a slide on that. So if I can hold that for,
But I guess my question is this going to be communicated to the taxpayers of Henrico County?
Yeah.
Nobody knows about it.
well, I'm going to tell you, give me
Okay.
1 minute and I'll tell you maybe a little bit why that is, but just give me 1 minute and we'll get to that
Okay.
slide. Okay, any other questions on recap or REAP or your tax assessment that okay, moving on for that, great. Team Tuckahoe priorities. So people ask me all the time sort of what my priorities are and I want to go through a couple things. One, customer service mindset. I came from 20 years in the IT world. You know, whether this is leaf collection, potholes, when's my road going to get paved, I want to have a customer service mindset. I really want the county working for all of us. And so that's my mentality coming into this job. Fiscally responsible. When we're spending money, we're spending all of our money on our tax assessment. So I want to be very responsible fiscally in what we're doing. Environmentally friendly. I know I have some of my environmental friends here. I will tell you this real quick on the environment side. For those of you that don't know Stewie is, what's that? Stuart, I call him Stewie, okay? So we can go with Stuart, the official name. But, you know, in my house, I mean, I've chosen to put this on the back of my phone, and many of our supervisors have, but I know he's a turtle, but he's a reminder to all of us when we make a decision, what would Stuart, I call him Stewie, what would Stewie think is what we talk about in our house. So when we make a decision or whatever we do, what would Stewie think? And so we try to keep that mindset on the environmental side. If you need a Stuart sticker, please let us know. We'll get you one. Or Stewie. Smart, sustainable growth is very important. And that means, you know, for me, enhancing bike, car, pedestrian safety, crosswalks, speed limits, and bike lanes. For those of you that didn't see me on the campaign trail, I rode a little one-wheel around. It's a little electric skateboard almost. But mobility is a really important thing. More people are wanting to walk and get around. So that's a priority. Yes, ma'am.
Problems with them. There's a couple problems with them. I mean, I walk my neighborhood frequently and people aren't stopping, and there's two reasons. One, there's no sign that says it's against the law to not stop. And the other is the blinkies they're really wimpy. There's no other word. They're about this big and they're not bright. So people are just busting through them.
Okay.
Side and stopped, and the car coming the other direction, saw them, saw me, and still went through.
Yeah, and I think two things real quick. I mean, the blinkies are supposed to be a different frequency than a turn signal. So it's supposed to be highlighting, you know, folks to slow down. It's going to take a little bit of time for people to understand they need to stop for pedestrians there. I'm more than happy to put out more education. You see the whoa thing, I mean, and do more for it. We need the signs. Okay, we can put some better signage up, but I do support it, and probably I've heard a number of additional places where people want crosswalks, et cetera, West Ham Parkway and some other locations. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. I know. And one thing I will say that just be very careful out there, folks, because the car is always going to win. And, you know, as much as we can educate, please be careful out there. It's a great question. It's something that, you know, we all know how they're supposed to walk and how you're supposed to ride a bicycle, but people don't do it. So I think some of the woe stuff is helping. with that campaign. I have a high school student in 11th grade who's doing a class project on exactly that because they're noticing it as well. Yes, sir, you had a question? I'm going to move on to a couple of things. The last priority, well, there's two more priorities, is a strong relationship with our school board. And I don't have authorization for these pictures to be put out here by Ms. Shea, but I'm going to do it anyways because she's been really terrific. You know, we spend somewhere between 56 and 60% of our budget on the school board and in the school. So having a great relationship with the school board is a priority. And finally, at the end of the day, being honest, fair, and kind, I think it's something that we can all do a better job, myself included. So that's a priority of mine as well. I'm going to spotlight just 3 projects, and then I'm going to get HR up here. I promised. There was a question about, and this is a little blow up of Ridge Road. So there's currently some sidewalk being put in phase 1 coming down Ridge Road. If you've driven down Ridge Road, you've seen that lately. There are plans in the works to continue that sidewalk all the way to Parham Road, probably starting some design initial discussions later, probably early next year. So that is something that I think a couple people asked a question about that coming in. Somebody asked the question earlier about Tuckahoe Creek. Okay, this is not a project yet. There's no project with this. There was a boardwalk built from Ridgefield around to Old Coach that's out there now. There is nothing else currently. To answer the question that came in earlier, before we do anything else, we will have community meetings. There is not a plan to do anything right now, you know, as far as too far of development goes. So that everybody will know what's going on out there. Right, and so there's not a shovel going in the ground tomorrow. Mr. Winterhoff on the Planning Commission, that's correct. There was actually some. Yep. Yes. What would Stewie do, right? Yes. So nothing's going to happen until we have some community meetings on the Tuckahoe Creek. And lastly, I just wanted to, and we touched on this earlier, don't read too much into the projects themselves, but there are projects that go in different phases. And so you see the cell phone tower that's here. There will be a public hearing on that. It has gone through the process of the Planning Commission. There will be a public hearing. The Gateway Apartments, and this is looking northbound on Parham Road on your left before you get to Fargo, almost across from the Chick-fil-A that's being rebuilt over there. But there are plans to take these down and to build additional apartments over here. Certain things have been already approved for development. Certain things are going to the Planning Commission. Certain things are going to the public hearing. There's different processes. And I love the fact how many people are here. Get involved. Talk to me. If you have any questions, email me at Tuckahoe. Call my cell phone. If you have questions on what's going on, I don't want this to be an adversarial or a difficult conversation to have. I want to know what your questions are because things are in different planning phases. So that's, I told HR I'd get them up here around 1:30-ish. That's what I had to talk about, at least right now. Go ahead, ma'am. Sorry.
Broad Street.
The plan for putting crosswalks across Broad Street. Yeah, I'm going to have to get back to you on that because there's a little bit different process for state roads as there are for county roads. County roads, as you can, Ridge and West Ham Parkway, Forest, we can move pretty quickly on those. But when it comes to Patterson and Broad, it's a very different process to get the state to do that. We don't have as much control. So I don't have an answer for you on that, but Victoria will take some notes on that and we'll get back to you on that. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Karen Mainwaring from the Mission, correct? For the representing Tuckahoe. And I just didn't have a chance to mention today everything we have going on in Parks and Rec. But if anybody has any questions, I'm just going to highlight just a few things you might not know. There are free fitness classes at Youth Run Recreation. Does everybody know that here? It's awesome. My husband and I go to Pilates and yoga, and there's all different kinds of awesome things going on in the Parks and Rec. And it's not just including baseball fields and soccer fields, which is awesome. And that's a whole nother meeting going over everything great we have going on in Parks and Rec. But if you have any questions, I have, you can come up and talk to me afterwards and I can tell you a little bit. I don't know everything, but I know we've got a lot of awesome stuff going on. Okay?
Thank you, Karen.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to thank the supervisors to get a notification in the mail from the county saying the meeting is going to be held February 15th. And at the bottom in brackets, it's been requested to move to another day. I think the process could be improved. The lawyers and developers should be able to in the meeting. I think that they should have to request it a month in advance. I think it's a waste of money to send those notifications out every time it's 68 cents to go to everyone's phone. I think the county can save money if we don't just put it on. You see, on public getting up in front of planning commission where the board it's on schedule. There's no lawyer, no do the business on the weekend. What is the problem? Professional. Yeah. Their business on the schedule when they're ready. I don't think it is polite to the public to not find out until they apply them. But it's not. Did a good job holding this to the fire and saying, no, nothing new came in. We're not going to defer it. But I think it would be even more helpful and would save even more money if there was a change to how that system is run, so that you don't request a referral just by saying email. That is normal business. It's done inside. And if you're not going to be ready to February, you should have to stand up in January. March, and then there's just one mail.
Yeah.
Saves. I don't even know, we're focused on, but there's so many things that come before those boards, and every one of them, it's required by ordinance that you make. And if you have to do that over and over again, it's just not really financially.
It's a fantastic comment. Stewie would not approve of that. Okay, sorry. Go ahead and then we'll go back.
I have a question about the Virginia Clean requiring us to have electric vehicles in the next few years. So my question to you is, what is Henrico County doing to provide an enhanced public transportation system? Because the Virginia Clean Economy Act is going to price a lot of people out of cars. We're going to need a very much more robust public transportation system.
Yeah, it's a good question, Michelle. Thank you. So that's okay. There's not so much on the electric vehicles, but more on the buses and the transportation. So I am now on the Richmond Regional Transportation Authority. And we are going to, be looking at expanding bus service. I mean, there's no question about it. More and more people need to be riding buses. And along with that comes with, the structures that at the bus stations, we need to make sure that we're putting cover. I saw somebody on Broad Street. That was another one on Broad Street, literally sitting on the grass beside the sheets over there. And it's horrific, right? So it's not just about adding more bus lanes, but it's also the infrastructure around that. And but it is a priority, absolutely. Yes, Ms. Francis, you had a question or comment? Go ahead. Wait. I'm sorry. Wait, we need the microphone. Okay, got you.
My name is Bill. Sit on the my question is, first of all, our family is getting married. This has been the most informed meeting.
Thank you.
But my question
related to your presentation about the crisis intervention.
Mm-hmm.
Being a retired school psychologist and know challenges of children, what services are available in Henrico County for school-age children?
So specifically, she was first noting how great this meeting was. So thank you. I wanted to make sure and repeat that for the camera. So that wasn't on there. But specifically on what services for mental health, we are going. Actually, in about a month, we're going to have an announcement on some of the additional services in the schools for that. So I'm going to come back to that in about a month, if that's okay, Ms. Francis. But the crisis intervention team it's just fantastic. And what I saw that day, I could sit here and tell you a story, and I would probably start to cry on what I actually saw that day out with those officers. It was that impactful to me. So, but we'll come back. Yes, sir. Question over here. Well,
I'm going to introduce my question with a quick question for you. Do you know what the county pays to VACO, or the Virginia Association of Counties, in dues each year?
I do, yes, sir, yes. So he asked, VACO is the Virginia Association of Counties. Yes, I do know what we pay.
Would you share it with the group?
I think it's $85,000.
That's right. So my question to you is, would you consider having Henrico County withdraw from VACO, as Goochland did several years ago and never looked back? VACO is at the General Assembly lobbying against the interests of the citizens of the county. And so our tax dollars are going for an organization to lobby against our interests down there. So my question to you is, would you consider a look into withdrawing from VACO? I don't think my life as a citizen of Henrico would change one iota, as the supervisors in Goochland told me, if we were not members of an organization that lobbies against us.
Okay, so the question is, and just for everybody that knows, there's a lobbyist organization called VACO, the Virginia, and correct me if I say something incorrect here, but it's the Virginia Association of Counties, and each locality in the Commonwealth pays into this organization, and it does vary from county to county. He is right that I do believe Goochland is the only county in the Commonwealth that has basically chosen to opt out of that as well. They do lobby for the counties, and I'm going to get to the actual real answer here in a second, but they do lobby for the counties. This is a bulletin they put out this year, and they basically follow the bills that are being proposed down at the state legislature, and they take a position from the county's perspective one way or the other. And that's what all these lobbyist organizations do, and their voices are. And so you see some green on here and probably some red, that they oppose certain ones. I mean, one of them was a bill to make accessory dwelling units a by right use. And so what that means would be that every locality wouldn't be able to say yes or no to an accessory dwelling unit. Accessory dwelling unit is like a grandmother pad or, on your property, or if you want an Airbnb that, you could just do that anywhere in the county. So the counties, Mr. Winterhoff, the planning commissioner, would have no say. So things like that they keep track of. I'm just giving you that as an example of what they do. So to answer your question, I honestly don't know enough yet to say whether or not that I would support getting out of it or not. I can tell you that it's not just my decision. The whole board would have to decide. We have, I think our legislative budget hearings are March 26th, March 12th, and there's a public hearing, I think, later that month on those. So I am fiscally, I do want to be fiscally responsible, but I don't know whether or not yes or no to get out of that. So, but I will look at it. Yes, we do in Henrico County have, that's right, yes. It's a fair comment, and certainly we are a county that has a legislative liaison. I think Chesterfield does. I'm sure that Powhatan does not have a legislative liaison. Yes, I know. I'm sure that some places do and don't. So, but it's a good point and a good question. I promise I will look into it. Question over here, microphone. Still bad. So we had changed the batteries. So you're.
So it was really nice to see Stewie on your phone. Well, Stewie lives on native plants and native habitats. So what's Henrico going to do to stop the spread and the sale of invasive plants? They're taking over Nandina domestica. It's everywhere. It kills our native cedar waxwings. Everyone's seen ivy taken over in kudzu. It just kills our native trees. White oaks provide life to 2,300 different species. Just one single mature white oak. Replacing one white oak with 2 saplings just doesn't cut it. So what are you going to do to preserve our natural areas?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I don't have, the ultimate answer on that for you, but I can tell you that from my perspective, that any tree that we cut down, I think I said this on the campaign trail, I'll say it again, but any tree that we cut down, there has to be a pretty good justification for me to do it. And I love the fact what these guys have done with this particular building. We didn't go out and cut a bunch of trees down to build an adult education, a learning center. We reused some existing space. So I promise I will do what I can on that. So what's that? Which ones? Out in Glover Park, they are expanding some baseball fields out in Glover Park. That's true. That I don't know. I don't don't believe so, but I don't think so out there. That's but that's the balance that the planning commissioner and myself, we have to look at. We want to keep our taxes low. One of the great things about all these out of town sports that are coming in, like the Sports Entertainment Center, you will see every day if you go up there during the week, the Rocket basketball, the kids locally are using that facility. On the weekends, we are bringing in so many people from out of state. They're staying in our hotels. They're eating in our restaurants. They're paying our beautiful taxes. And then on Monday, they leave, which is awesome because we love them coming in Henrico to visit, but they're not taxing our schools, et cetera. So that's the balance, on the fields and the indoor stuff. So, yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Anne Marie Leake. I'm actually the Tuckahoe appointee to the Henrico Environmental Action Resource Team. And my first meeting is tomorrow, so I cannot speak thoroughly right now to the initiatives that group is undertaking, but I can tell you that the committees of heart are green space and recreation, conservation and preservation, which I believe will be inclusive of native plant concerns, water, active transportation, outreach, and possibly now adding climate action to that as well. So I believe it is something that is definitely on the radar, and maybe I'll have an opportunity to speak at your next meeting in more detail.
Perfect. Thank you, Anne-Marie. I'm going to take one more question, and then HR has 10 minutes they want to talk. Go ahead, ma'am.
Do you have a full-time job other than this?
I actually did have a full-time job. Well, you know what? My wife works full-time. She's actually been out of town for the last couple of days on a work assignment. So my full-time job is my kids right now and Henrico County Board of Supervisors. I was with the Department of Corrections for the last 20 years. And when I won this position at the end of the year, I decided to take a little change and do this basically full-time. So
I had been wondering when you would have time to keep up with all of this.
yeah, no, the other job is, this is way more fun in Henrico County, to be honest with you. So thank you. All right, I'm going to turn it over to HR. Hand the clicker to them for 10 minutes. And then we'll be around afterwards, so don't worry, I'm still here. And do you want? I'll turn mine off, so.
Since we're going to share, I'm going to stay real tight with Lauren here. Thank you so much for having us. I'm Whitney Crane. I'm with the Department of Human Resources with Henrico.
And I'm Lauren Taylor. I'm also with the HR department. I'm the Benefits Division Manager, and Whitney's with Talent Acquisition.
I will start by saying it's inspiring to be in a room full of people with one common goal, and sitting here listening to everyone's comments, Mr. Rogish's comments, and that common goal is evident. It's for a better
brighter Henrico. And so we heard about a lot of initiatives, a lot of projects coming down the pipe, and we are here to bring awareness to really the other side of the curtain, and that is a career with Henrico. Whether that's for you, a friend or family member, we are spreading the word that you can build your career, you can better your community, join our team. We have a lot of comprehensive benefits that have been introduced to Henrico County employees. We have incredible career opportunities to get you a seat at the table, you, a friend, family member, a seat at the table to help make those decisions, whether have your voice heard. So not only can you attend a meeting, you can actually have a seat at the table. For our career development, we offer robust career development with multiple positions. We have a place for you, whether it's entry level, a higher level. We have many career development programs for non-supervisory through our Emerging Leaders program. We have programs targeting our leadership specifically with Leadership Henrico. We offer tuition reimbursement. And I think it's important to note that we all have different career paths, different career trajectories. Mine and Lauren's looks very different, but we kind of got to the same place very different ways. Whether you have a college age, high school age, we offer internship opportunities to get your foot in the door, really get on the job learning and build your career from the bottom up. You can, of course, graduate, get your master's, whatever level you want, and come in the door that way. But we have a place for you no matter what path you choose. We have many, many different departments. We heard all these different initiatives today, whether it was mental health, public works, utilities, libraries. All of these opportunities have a village within them that we need you. We need the passion and purpose that you came here today. We need that on the other side of the table to join us. So I want to hand it over to Lauren. She has some information to share on the comprehensive benefits packages that we're trying to get the word out, which is really the root root cause of this presentation here today and our campaign.
Yeah, so I could talk I could talk benefits all day long, but we do, beyond the competitive salaries, do offer a comprehensive benefits package. We take care of the whole you. We really want to focus on a holistic approach for our employees and meeting all of those pillars of well-being. So outside of your traditional benefits, the health and dental insurance, we offer employer paid life insurance, disability, and we also offer voluntary supplemental insurance. There's about 9 different plan offerings, and one that we're very excited for in 2024 is we now offer pet insurance. And then we also obviously offer a robust leave benefits outside of your annual and sick leave. We also offer family sick leave. We rolled it out in September of 2023 is we offer up to 8 weeks paid job protected parental leave for employees to bond with their newborn, newly adopted child, or child that was a foster care placement. Outside of leave, we also offer fitness and well-being. We have our Henrico County Training Center, which employees have access free of charge to fitness classes, wellness classes, and our Henrico County gym. And then also we follow you throughout your career journey. So we take care of you in retirement as well. We have multiple different options for you to continue your benefits in retirement. We're also part of the Virginia retirement system. They administer pension plans and all that fun stuff for public sector employees. So we really go beyond what I would have ever imagined benefits wise working in the public sector, because we really want to put our employees first, so then they in turn can give back to the community.
And so I do agree. A lot of what you said, you don't typically see those offerings in the public sector. So we really want to bring awareness and spread the word. Henrico County cares not only about you, but your family's overall well-being. And we really want to just share that you can find a career with us that ties to your greater purpose. We have a path for you. I think we as humans all want to feel like we're making a difference and making the world a little bit better. With everything crazy going on in the world, we can't control that, but what we can do is have a direct impact in the community in which we live. Whether you live in Henrico or you don't, you can still make a difference with us, and we will take care of you from beginning to the end. And we just really want to get the word out and have as many people as we can in our community join our team. Does anyone have any questions about employment with Henrico? I don't know how much time we have. We have more information here on our website. You are certainly welcome to reach out to us directly. That's all we've got for you.
Thank you so much for that. It's about 5 till 2. We said we would wrap up around now. So unless there are any other, let me put my, whoops, sorry, go back to some contact information. You can, two things, call our office. You can hit the website, social media, email. Make sure, please, everybody on your way out to sign the blue sheet. Victoria is holding it up for everyone. Make sure you sign up there to get any updates for our next meeting, et cetera. We'll have it out on the social media platform as well. I hope this was informative. I hope I was able to tell you a little bit about myself, some of our priorities. If it wasn't evident, I am super excited of what the county is doing. There's a lot of room for things that we can do and continue to do better. But we are doing such great things out there in the county. And that's why I hope with Woodland Cemetery, with this location, with what you see up at Virginia Center Commons, the things that we're doing are really fantastic. So please get out to the website, hit me up on the social media, email, et cetera, if you have any questions, okay? Anything else for anyone? We are, Mac, do you want to come and say a few words? You want to show people around a little bit, if anybody wants to? Maybe a 5-10 minute tour from our specialist? Thank you all for coming out today. Oh, there are some petitions out in the end of the outside somewhere that Ms. Alswin has out there as well, right? And yes, sir. Thank you for having us here today.
Well, first off, thank y'all for being here today. And I want to tell you, this would not be possible without the leadership in the county. Because to sit here and think we're going to take a building like this and put a school inside of it, and everybody gets excited about it and believes that we can do it. Now, couple quick things about this real quick. Would you believe kids did this? The kids built this out in 10 months. High school students, when I say kids, high school students came in, demoed, designed, and built this out in 10 months, working in conjunction with some of our contract business partners. Now, think of the experience they walked out with. Think what the county has given these students as far as a leg up goes for where they can be in the workplace of tomorrow. So that's first thing. Second off, think about what this means for the adult population. In the past, adult education has primarily been about earning your GED or English as a second language. There's nothing wrong with that, but my question is, and then what? So now you can come to the mall to shop for your future. Notice the storefronts are out there because as you walk in, we're constantly putting opportunities in front of the adults that are doing this. To boot, we will have the first ever mega career sale on March 26th. Yes, a mega career sale. And what's special about that? 0 down and money for the rest of your life. So, no, I'm not a marketing specialist, but I do love what I do. And this is a great opportunity for adults to come feel comfortable about learning. They can stop by Panera Bread and get dinner on the way in, sit in the student commons area outside and eat, or they go to class. There's multiple places around the work, and they feel better about themselves. Isn't that what education's supposed to be about? Lifting people up, not saying, oh, you got to go back to the place that you dropped out of. We're creating an environment that's like a community college environment, and it's all about what's next in your career pathway. So Love to show people around, love to brag about what our kids were able to accomplish. And I'd also love to brag about the partnership that we have with the mall themselves, because we made a big mess in here for 10 months and they lived with us. So. But happy to show anybody around. So thank y'all for being here.
Thank you. And don't forget, if you have ideas on where to hold the next meeting, if you want to get back to the library, the fire station, et cetera, please make sure that you send us an email about that. Thank you all for coming out today. Appreciate it.